We spent 6% less and are scaling up now 174% better with the same amount of customers. Excellent. So we already know this is more effective, but that is what's interesting is your website's conversion rate could be drastically affected by how educated were these users before the click.
And also even Google's changes. The interesting part about the Andromeda update and the interesting thing about having all of the ads inside of one ad set and also having the users locked into that ad set is forcing almost advertisers to go back to traditional way of marketing. It also is providing a better user experience for the people who are on Meta and Instagram, which is, I think, the number one factor for the change, because people don't want to be like, picture of a dog 20% off. Then it's like my update from my cousin at 30% off. And so it's not, they don't want it to turn into kind of like this big, big sale platform. They're going to ruin the user experience. People are going to just kind of hop off. They want to grow, learn, engage, educate. They want to be involved, like a forum, like a community. And so what Meta has been producing in terms of the content diversification, the founder story, the UGC, the ad AIs, the testimonials, like all of those different ways that they're doing content diversification is to educate the user on a story, engage them where they may be at in their funnel, and lock them into that ad set so that they can continue to produce results from that campaign because they're finding more and more opportunities. It essentially removes a lot of the highly structural technical media buying, not the technical media buying, but the highly structural technical, like if they did this on Tuesday, then we do this with them on Friday kind of thing. And I have another test that I'm running with another company that I can kind of show a little bit of it on this live here, but then I also have my main case study. But I want to give you kind of some different variations, but the reasoning as to why is something I think I kind of skip over a lot. And what I have been seeing more often in the way that Meta is deploying those changes is more to how people are subconsciously buying nowadays. And I believe this is something that we all do, but we all have that cognitive dissonance where it's like it's not necessarily our frontal lobe as aware, it's more subconscious. When we start to engage with purchases on social media, what we're actually doing is being force-fed content on the front end of our phones, like through Facebook and Meta and YouTube. And then the landing page is simply a confirmation of what I've already learned. Right. So an extreme case of this, and it's something I'm working on with another company now, but they have an 1.5-hour webinar that they push people through for an education, and then they sell them the full course at the end. And it is a fantastic company, fantastic product. Like, their core offering is spot on, second to none, excellent. But I think that the original thought process on deploying the model might be still a little bit old school. And I say old school as in like a year ago kind of thing. Like, it's not old school at all from a digital marketing perspective. But what we're testing now is taking their 1.5-hour webinar and breaking it up into smaller chunks. And those smaller chunks are becoming creative.
Oh, yeah. Great idea.
Yep. So
Love
this
that.
way, exactly. So this way, I now don't have to put up an email wall and then ask for your digital currency, which is your email, to then tell you why I'm special.
Or lower the gate. No gate.
Exactly. And as you're scrolling through, I'm educating you in micro chunks. So it's like I'm now convincing and selling even pre-click. And it's the reason why Amazon is 40% of the e-commerce, is because that is how people are being educated and are purchasing. They are being educated via ads/landing page, but the conversion will happen on Meta. But if I didn't have a landing page, could this still work? Of course. That's why Amazon businesses are in place. So due to the fact that Amazon is a thing, due to the fact that Amazon businesses are a thing, due to the fact that people are educating themselves in content pre-click on Meta, we're sort of skipping the PDPs in terms of levels of importance. It's almost like a shopping cart now, or a confirmation of what I'm already engaging with. So for Meta to say, hey, you need to take your landing page, break it out into bite-sized chunks and create ad copy with it, it's essentially what they're asking us to do. So what we're looking at is, when we ran this test for the glove company, and I'm going to go ahead and share screen and explain this.
Yep.
When we were starting to break out the we broke out the landing page into educational piece of content. This is that first week where we only had like the 2 click attributeds. And we still have 19 ads live. We had 50, but it was like a Mother's Day, then a Father's Day, then a Memorial Day. And so, we ended up having to stop those sales, but we still have all the original ads that were not, seasonal, still running and still live all the way back from over a month ago. I have not touched anything else besides shutting off the seasonal ads and then tripling the ad spend. It's the only thing I've done.
Just people haven't seen the previous episode. This is a bespoke glove company from like handmade in Vermont. Not something that people are waking up in the morning and saying, hey, I need a luxury high-end glove.
I need a $120 leather glove.
$120, like I can get, a pair of gloves at, Home Depot for $10. But
exactly. I used this as an example earlier today because I'm educating a lot of our clients on the type of content that we need to start to produce for them and the reasons as to why. And it's exactly right. If I never visit the website and of this glove company, and I'm only engaging in the ads, there is nothing the website is going to tell me that I don't already know. And that's kind of the purpose of this, is if you're engaging in the first ad, the one that people have engaged with the most, which is interesting, the one that we have the most amount of sales, we have an $18 CPA in platform. We have it was $1,800 in ad spend. The next one down is only $318. But that $1,700 in ad spend that has gone to the first ad here, the one that has the highest amount of engagement, has 73 7-day click attributed conversions and is pumping out 93 totals. So it's much, much higher than the other ones. However, this is one of the most informative. It is an inseam stitching for dexterity. It is seamless pointer finger for performance. It is additional welt on the secondary seam, so this is a high wear area. It is double walled palm for longevity. It's vein protector. So if you're working and something slices the glove, it's got an additional flap to cover your veins. It is a 2-inch goat leather cuff. It is made in our own factory right here in the United States in Vermont. Now, would you pay $120? I'm getting closer because that's much different than the Home Depot off the brand shelf. So, and then when you're looking at now the actual process of it, like you're seeing people who, and I know this is going to sound weird, but look like who I am if I'm in this industry, more blue collar-esque, and they are hand making these things right here in the United States. It is what it looks like after 1,000 days of use, the before and after. I know this will be around forever. Like I'm now understanding everything that I need to know about this product, and also how it is how durable it is through like chain testing and stuff like that. Like I now know it lasts long. It's made here. There's 7 features that I didn't know of before. It is, all of this information that I am now getting off of these ads and getting off of this information is all before I went to the website.
Yeah.
So conversion rate on our site has actually increased exponentially. Now I'm going to talk about that here in a moment.
Which makes complete sense. Can I just mention one thing, that the ad that is getting all the conversions, it seems to like it's a very feature, not benefit based ad, but it seems to me, I don't know if this is accurate, it seems more of a bottom of funnel, like, oh, I just want to reinforce that the thing is really good because you caught my attention with another ad, maybe with a video ad or like the story or like how it's made. And this is like the last click ad because it's sort of the final thing I need in order to say, I'm going to pay $120 for a pair of gloves.
Right.
But is that what you're seeing in your data here? Or is it getting a lot of just like, hey, that looks really cool. I've never seen a glove like that before. First click. Like, is there any way to tell based upon how the algorithm is working? Like, what is top of funnel primarily? What is bottom of funnel?
Right. And what's interesting is we don't know because we have not started our iterations yet. That's my first test is just, let's say if I let this thing ran, how would the users flow through it? Right. But since we don't actually have a founder story or why we created this or, why this glove company even exists, was there even a need for it? We haven't touched that. We haven't even scratched that surface yet. So the closest thing to a top of funnel is, thank God everyone knows what a glove is. If this was the brand new WYSIWYG, we'd be in a lot bigger trouble. But
what? There's a thing you can wear over your hands?
I know, right?
Oh my God, I never knew that existed.
Yeah, like if I could be like introducing the glove. Whoa, tell me more. Like,
whoa,
we skipped that part.
It's not a mitten.
Right.
Oh my God, John, this is
what's amazing. A work glove now? I have a snow glove, but so what we saw is like whether it was right or wrong. This is what the first ads that people started to click and buy from, which is what we saw. It ended up being the first pushed and the first essentially to market, and it got the majority of the ad spend up front. Mm-hmm. And that trend did not change. This one here, that's the first week that got $60 in spend with a $20 CPA in the first week. If we look at since the inception, that $60 in spend has turned into $1,700, and that $19 CPA is now down to $18. It's $1 cheaper after going from $60 to $1,700.
Yeah.
So it still is leading the charge. Now, is it right? Probably not. Could we have a better ad that we could have led with? Absolutely. Was this good enough? It was.
If we're talking, metrics that matter and growth that scales, something tells me that's a very effective ad from a business standpoint at that particular NCAC. I mean, we're talking about CPA, but we're really talking about NCAC because we're assuming everybody's new customer in this particular case because it's a relatively new brand. So.
Right. And when we're looking at year-over-year performance, where our sessions over time is only changed 6%, but our conversion rate's up 68%. Yeah. Hey, and this is where we started to launch. This is year-over-year performance. So February,
we're warming them up off-site before they even get there. Right.
Exactly. Like we had February was 3% better. Then we went 22% better. Then we started these campaigns and went 70% better. Last month was 115% better, 115% better. So far, month to date, 174% better. And we've actually spent less, which is quite interesting when you compare this whole account year over year. Let me turn off the ad is active. If we look at the overall account year over year, there's 17 total campaigns, and we spent, let's do this here. Yeah, compare previous year. There we go. That is 5/14/6/19, 2024, 5/14/6/19, 2025. We spent 6% less and are scaling up now 174% better with the same amount of customers. Same spend, same sessions, 68% better conversion rate. Excellent. So we already know this is more effective, but that is what's interesting is your website's conversion rate could be drastically affected by how educated were these users before the click.
100%.